We got a highlight video breakdown here on our ATS YouTube page as part of ATS Radio, taking a look at a game that I don't know if either one of us have a really strong opinion on, but it's a fascinating handicap, and I think it does make for good content to talk about a lot of these different angles here. That's game 263, 264 between Seattle and Miami. Seattle 6.5 point favorite, which is interesting in and of itself that this line's not sitting at 7 and hasn't really gotten there yet to this point. Total of 54, 54 and a half. There's a lot to unpack with this game, Kyle.
Yeah, I think in this game I do like the over some. I think that 54, while it is a high number, I mean Seattle's offense is tremendous. Russell Wilson, I mean you can't say enough good things about him. He has the talent around him to make big plays, especially at wide receiver. If you look at Seattle's defense, they're not good at all. I mean, they're giving up a lot. They were pretty fortunate to cover that game against the Cowboys yesterday. It seems like every Seattle game comes down to a 2 point conversion, whether they're gonna cover or not. Just Seattle's games are close at the end of the game. That's why I would lean toward taking Miami in this game. I'd want the 7 points. I'm not taking 6.5. But this isn't a very good spot for Seattle. I mean, they have to travel all the way to Miami after they had two big wins at home and really close games. Miami is not a good team, but I'm not convinced they're a terrible team either. I think Miami can move the football here. Miami's secondary has been a problem. They looked pretty good against Minshew the other night, much to my chagrin, since I had the over. But Miami is a team that really has given up a lot of yards through the air. Josh Allen threw for more than 400 yards against them. I think Wilson's going to have a really big game against them. At the same point, I don't know that Seattle can stop Miami. Miami's Fitzpatrick's kind of a good quarterback for an over one way or the other, right? He's going to be pick sixes or he's going to be throwing deep passes that are complete. I like the over in this one. I think that this one will get bet up. I'd be surprised if this finishes at 54. So if, like me, you like the over, I think you want to bet this one earlier in the week instead of later in the week.
Well, that's one thing. I mean, last week on the highlight videos, we did get some closing line value, specifically, as I mentioned, that Tennessee-South Carolina game where that total moved down not too long after the show. And, we got a good number on it. But, of course, the game did wind up going over the total. And that happens. I mean, all you can control is trying to get the best possible number. And sounds like you're going to try and do that here with this total. Man, this spot is fascinating. As you mentioned, Seattle, the long trip down to Miami where it's been hot, it's been humid, dramatically different type of climate than what Seattle is used to. And maybe that fuels the over here, where Seattle's defense could get a little bit tired in the second half. Off the big goal line stand, we'll call it, against the Patriots, off that win over the Cowboys, now you go and play Miami across the country in a 1 o'clock time slot. Situationally, this spot is horrendous for Seattle. And that's what's going to be interesting is that you look at all the metrics and everything like that, a stats handicap will point you towards Seattle. A situational kind of more maybe old school, so to speak, handicap will point you towards Miami. And I'll be very interested to see where this line goes, if it moves. I think there will be enough people that dislike the situation and the spot for Seattle enough to keep it off of 7. But on the other hand, Seattle's offense is fantastic. They're a much better team than Miami. So maybe you get that quant crowd that bets this one up to 7. I think it's a fascinating line to watch, a fascinating handicap, and it illustrates how many different ways there are to go about that handicapping process. And then it's up to the betting side of things. Get the best of the number that you can on the total. If you like Miami, wait on a 7. If you don't and you like Seattle, maybe you get a rogue 6. Who knows? You got the handicapping and the betting processes on full display here in this game.
Yeah, I think if you like Miami here, you'll probably be able to get a 7 at some point. If you like Seattle, you can definitely get 6 or 6.5, right? So we talk about getting the best of the number, doing the absolute best you can. If you like Seattle here, you shouldn't be laying 7 points. If you like Miami here, you shouldn't be taking 6.5 points. So I think that this is a good one to watch throughout the course of the week. The other thing is, at the end of the week, the public's going to take Seattle in this one. So they're not going to be betting Miami. So it'll be fascinating, like you said, to see what happens with this line. I think there will be plenty of people wanting to take Miami on the spot. At the same time, like you said, the numbers point towards Seattle, and also the public's going to like Seattle. So I think this is probably the most fascinating line to watch throughout the course of the week. I see 87% of the bets are on Seattle so far, but more than half the money is on Miami. So interesting one here early in the week. Like I said, I think this total will go up, and I think this side will kind of bounce between 7 and 6.5.
Yeah, it's definitely a great game to watch. And again, I mean, maybe it's a game. I know you like the over. It's a game I don't have the strongest of opinions on, but it makes for good content. It makes for good discussion about what you need to do from a handicapping standpoint here in the business. And we talk about a lot of those topics and a lot of games on ATS Radio. And we also do the highlight videos here on our ATS YouTube page.